Now, I don't know about you, but my brain likes easy mode. Sometimes, maybe often, it doesn't want to think that hard. And so in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to make the path of least resistance the thing you actually should be doing. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Human beings are creatures of convenience. Maybe I should say it a different way. Humans often want to take the path of least resistance, myself included. And that's why your defaults are so ridiculously important. Your defaults are what you do, say it with me, by default, without thinking about it. Because thinking about it takes effort. And because you're likeliest to do whatever the default is, your defaults define the trajectory of your time and by extension, your life. I literally can't stress this enough. Don't believe me? Let me give you a few real world examples. In countries where you have to opt into organ donation, 15% of people are organ donors. While in countries where you have to opt out of organ donation, 90% of people are organ donors. In companies that don't offer auto enrollment for their 401k plans, about 67% of people still invest, which is pretty good. But in companies that do offer auto enrollment, 77% of people invest. And in countries where you're registered to vote by default when you become of age, they have a much higher percentage of people who actually vote. And for countries like the US, where you have to register to vote, you have to do something, far fewer people vote. But let's bring this back to productivity and time management because that's probably why you're here. There are some small sweet tweaks that you can make to your own defaults that will help you be more productive and less stressed without extra effort. Yes, you heard that right, without extra effort. So I want to share a few of my favorites with you here today. The first one is your calendar meeting default length, right? Now, calendar meetings, no matter what calendar you're using, I'm betting that the defaults are 30 minutes or 60 minutes. So we generally meet for 30 minutes or 60 minutes because this is the default. However, there are settings both in Google Calendar and in Outlook that you can use to change these meeting defaults. In Google, it's called Speedy Meetings. You can just Google that. You can find the instructions to set it up. And in Outlook, it's called End Meetings Early. And you can change the defaults to whatever you want. So, what if you change the default meeting setting to 20 minutes? I bet you can get done in 20 minutes what you usually get done in 30 minutes, and then you'll have a bit of a breather in between meetings. There was a massive Microsoft study a few years ago that showed that even just 5 minutes between meetings reduced people's stress significantly. So imagine if you had 10 minutes between meetings. Now, another default you can set or reset are your calendar notifications. Your default calendar notification is likely set to 10 to 15 minutes before the meeting. But let me ask you, does this notification actually help you get to your meeting on time? For me, the answer was an unequivocal no until I changed the default. I would see that notification, think to myself, okay, I have time to do one more small thing. And then I'd be late to that meeting anyways, because that one small thing took longer than expected or led to another small thing. And that led me to forget about the meeting entirely. Now, my meeting notifications are set to 2 minutes before the meeting, which is just enough time to wrap up or to put a pin in what I'm doing without starting something new and actually get to the meeting on time. Now, if you're working in an office, in a large building, or in a large campus, and you have to physically walk between meetings, then of course your mileage may vary here. So you want to adjust this strategy to meet the needs of your own circumstances, just like you want to do with everything else. Now, what about other notifications? Other notifications are defaults as well. In fact, every app, every game, every communication tool, everything on your phone or your desktop comes with notifications turned on by default. So when you download a new app, go in there and turn off or at least mindfully set the notification settings. You may think that you're ignoring all these pings and dings and flashes on your home screen, but science has a different story to tell. Studies show that we spend about 23 minutes on average trying to refocus after a single distraction. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that notifications are the platonic ideal of distraction. Now, there's one more default that I want to share with you because it's one of my favorites that we can set. And it is the default of yes versus no. Now, this one might be a little controversial, but what if your default answer became no instead of yes? And no, I don't mean you're going to start saying no to everything. I just mean that instead of saying yes without thinking about whether you really want to do something, that you'll say, let me think about it, or whatever works for you. This is going to help you combat what's called the yes, damn effect, where you say yes to something now, and then later when it comes up, you're like, oh, damn, I don't want to do that. When you start defaulting to no, or at least to hold on a sec while I think about this, you'll find that somehow, miraculously, you're a lot less overloaded than you were before. You're not overcommitted all the time, and you actually have some breathing room in your schedule. So, what defaults do you have set that you could think about rethinking a little bit? I'd love to know. Before you go, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that enrollment for my group coaching program, Time Well Spent, is going to be opening up really soon. Now, I only open up enrollment twice a year, and the next cohort starts next month. So if you're even slightly interested in learning more, you can join the waitlist right now. The link's in the show notes. And then you'll be the first to know when enrollment opens, and you'll get all the info you need to decide if Time Well Spent is the right next step for you. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.